Your news starts now.
We begin with breaking news tonight. We are monitoring a protest in North Portland that has been declared an unlawful assembly. Some in the group have broken windows on a vacant building. A nearby church is on guard, worried they will be the target of vandalism. There are several Portland police officers and private security near the Holy Redeemer Catholic Church in North Portland. Church leaders said they heard the protest would focus on abortion rights, and they were open to having a discussion with activists. A nonprofit, several businesses, and an anti-abortion center have all been vandalized in Portland since the Supreme Court's reversal of Roe v. Wade. Thank you for joining us for KGW News at 11 on this Friday night. 4th of July weekend is now underway, and while we're in a much better spot with COVID than we were the past couple of years, there's still a need for caution over the holiday. Daily cases are on a slight increase, and the CDC now considers most Oregon counties, including the Portland metro area, at high risk for COVID transmission. Our Alma McCarty checked in with Portlanders about how they're assessing their own risk and has the latest advice from state health leaders.
Hundreds spent Friday afternoon in lawn chairs, on boats, and on the dance floor, enjoying the blue skies and the blues at Tom McCall Waterfront Park.
It's always somebody really good that you never heard of is here. They're just superb, players, and that's really fun to see that.
For a large gathering like this one, concert goers tell me they've weighed their risks when it comes to COVID.
People that were supposed to come and join us here, a couple, they decided to stay home because I guess there were 1,200 or 1,500 reported cases.
I have mixed feelings. Ultimately, I hope that the people who are attending these events are, exercising caution in their personal life and are coming to events like this with awareness that COVID is still happening.
Leslie Webb, an artist from California, has been coming here to the Waterfront Blues Festival for more than a decade.
Just something that I feel like is so enriching to the blues genre of music.
But this year, being back means more.
Actually, my first event back from my whole near-death experience. So for me, this is like the greatest honor to be here, to experience what I'm experiencing, which is like a second chance.
Last August, he was hospitalized with COVID-19. Much of that stay on a ventilator.
Being hospitalized for 70 days, it's like, it changes you. I still have dreams about it. It's a really earth-shattering thing. So to come here, this music and this event is actually bringing me healing.
Now vaccinated and boosted, Webb feels safe even in large crowds. Dr. Paul Cieslak with OHA says those are still the most important forms of protection, your vaccine and booster shots.
There is a lot of COVID-19 being transmitted out there right now.
And while he says the unvaccinated and people with underlying health conditions might reconsider attending large indoor events, here's his take on weekend plans.
I would say, outdoors is the safest place to be right now. I would not tell people avoid those outdoor gatherings. But when you're indoors, we are recommending masking in those communities. And in particular, if you're at high risk, get the best mask you can.
Dr. Cieslak says warm weather and outdoor events might actually provide a bit of a break when it comes to COVID cases and surges, since outside there's generally good airflow and circulation, and the risk of catching COVID is much lower. It is July 1st, and a number of new laws are now in effect in Oregon and Washington. First off, some Oregon workers got a raise today. The minimum wage increased statewide, varying based on where you are. In the Portland metro area, the minimum wage is now $14.75. It's now $12.50 in rural areas. Also, a major reform to Oregon's bail system. Now, arrested suspects will be released or held in jail before their first court hearing or trial based on their threat to the community. In the most dangerous cases, they won't be allowed out on bail no matter how much they're able to pay. Advocates say this will make Oregon's justice system much more equitable. However, critics say for lower level criminals, arrest will just become an inconvenience if they don't have to post bail. In Washington, new laws include a ban on the sale and distribution of high-capacity gun magazines. High capacity is defined as a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds. The law, however, does not impact possession of them, just the sales. Another law attempts to crack down on catalytic converter thefts. It requires businesses that buy them to show a record of their transaction and pay through a traceable source like a check or credit card, not with cash. Catalytic converter thefts, as you've probably heard, have been rising nationwide in recent years. And Washington license plate fees went up today. Now you'll pay $50 for a new plate instead of $10. The money will go toward funding Washington's transportation initiatives. Portland's first safe rest village could be in jeopardy. The federal government says the city is violating restrictions on how it's allowed to use the property that sits in Multnomah Village. Blair Best explains.
This Safe Rest Village off Multnomah Boulevard at the former Sears Armory just finished being built, and those living on the streets have already moved in. But this could all change now that the Federal Emergency Management Agency is saying the city has violated deed restrictions when it comes to how this land is meant to be used.
It's been nice.
At the back of this parking lot sits 30 tiny homes for those formerly living on the streets.
It's obviously out of the downtown setting, so it's a lot less chaotic than being surrounded by people yelling all day.
It's the first of the city's 6 Safe Rest villages to help the homeless transition into permanent housing.
Having access to laundry and restroom services and clean clothes and food. It has like all the bases covered, which you normally worry about when you're living on the streets. So with those covered, then you can have time to do other things.
This man didn't want to be identified on camera. He moved into the village on June 13th after staying at the outdoor temporary shelter in Old Town, which closed due to increased gun violence in that area. He's one of just 16 people currently living at this Safe Rest village.
It's only half full right now, which I don't understand.
A recent property assessment by FEMA may put the future of this village in jeopardy. Here's why. In 2012, the federal government allowed the city of Portland to use the property under the agreement that the city would use it only for emergency management services. According to Oregon law, that includes things like emergency response prevention training, mitigation, and recovery activities. Since then, the city has used the site for storing emergency response equipment and as a training ground for police practicing emergency response drills. And back in 2015, it was used as a temporary homeless shelter. Now, part of the parking lot is an organized camp where those experiencing homelessness can live for about 6 months at a time. In a recent property assessment, FEMA says they don't recognize the Safe Rest Village as emergency use. The city says they don't have the capacity to talk with us on camera, but the Office of Management and Finances said in a statement that they have, quote, declared a housing emergency and are moving forward with the development of the Safe Rest Village at this site in good faith to address this emergency. They go on to say we're working with FEMA on their suggestion to ensure compliance and meet this critical need. FEMA directed all questions pertaining to the property's deed restrictions to the General Services Administration. We reached out to them but did not hear back. KGW also reached out to All Good Northwest, the nonprofit running the village. They also declined to talk on camera, but said they will, quote, simply continue to do the work they're contracted to do, to shelter, support, and house individuals. The city is now working on ways to ensure they're in compliance with the federal government. As for those living at the village, they can stay here while the city works with the federal government to resolve these issues. In Southwest Portland, Blair Best, KGW News.
School may be out for summer break, but students' mental health needs are still front and center for a lot of educators and parents after such a tough couple of years. Now, state education officials hope a new resource will help. The Oregon Department of Education launched a new website this week to help parents, teachers, and other community members better address mental health issues in kids and teens. The website has links to videos, articles, and online courses, all available for free to anyone.
That deals with a lot of really important topic areas like how to support children and adolescents when they need emotional support or social support, what to do when students are experiencing distress.
ODE says $5.5 million in federal COVID relief money is being dedicated to mental health. It is spending that money on the website, as well as a couple of other projects meant to increase mental health help for students and families.